about how women think, how we think. So today I'm gonna be kind of, reacting to a video. This guy channel is called Everyday PJ. Shout out to him. It's about a lady who, the title says, "Woman found out her husband is DL, tells all." This was actually on TikTok. So my thing about doing these type of videos is trying to figure out how women think and why do we think the way we do. So here we go. And I didn't go through, I'm not at the beginning of the video, I'm just going through parts of the video that I want people to hear.
Put up with a lot, and then you still got pregnant. Did you still want, even though you seen all that you seen, you still?
Now, I kind of went in the middle of the video. He said, put up with a lot and you still got pregnant. That's the question I was waiting for. Why did you still get pregnant by somebody? Well, she said that she didn't know that he was DL at first, but she found out, but she still, when she found out, she still decided to get pregnant by him. So let's hear her response on that.
I wanted to have a baby. Like,
I get the question that you're asking, but this is the thing that everybody doesn't understand. Everybody thinks that, like, when something traumatic happens to you, you react instantly. Like, oh, this happened to me, now I'm going to change things around. And sometimes I worked in medical for a long time, and they tell you about the 5 stages of grief. The 5 stages of grief are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. You have to go through all 4 of those stages before you get to acceptance. That's why when somebody dies, you don't just be like, oh, well, the person's dead, let me just go on with my day. It takes a second for you to take in that traumatic experience and then be like, oh shit, like, now what? Even like situations where people get, assaulted. People ask, well, why didn't she just report it right away? Well, trauma don't work that way. Sometimes you might get sexually assaulted and you don't tell anybody for 20 years. That's just how it is. It doesn't. There's no straight line to trauma. It's like, well, there's no book on this where, like, oh, when you find your husband cheating with men, this is the way you're supposed to react. That's unfortunately. I wish trauma worked that way, but it doesn't. So it did take me like 2 or 3 months for it to really settle in that I'm married. Because if it was a boyfriend, totally different situation. I'm married and have announced to everyone that I know that I'm married to someone, and now I just found out that he sleeps with men. That's a I know it sounds simple, but
I want to address 2 things that she said. She said that's trauma when she found out her husband was on a DL or whatever. But to me, it's a difference. I'm not saying that's not her trauma. This is my opinion. It's a difference between trauma and toxic. After you know this person is doing all these things to you, it's up to you to decide if I'm going to put it with this or not. Number 2, hey, how you doing? Deshay Smith, how are you? But number 2, we got to stop with a lot of women, especially women in our community. Stop. It's nothing wrong with being married. I'm not, if you want to get married, power to you, more, But you got to understand, it's a difference. Women in our community look at marriage like it's some type of certificate. It's some type of prize. It's some type of, just a major goal we got to jump over. Now, if you get married to a man and he's a decent man, that's the difference. But when you're married to somebody that you know is putting you through things, her husband was on a deal. But let's even take that out the equation. Let's put in, she not even thinking whether if he was cheating with a man, he cheating with a woman. He's still cheating. So to me, I don't look at marriage like that, but it's a lot of women in our community, they kind of boast and brag about marriage. Even when they're in bad relationships, they boast and brag about marriage like, oh, it's the end all be all. And to people that's just jumped in my live, this video is about a woman found out her husband is DL, tells all. She's having an interview with this guy named, his channel is Everyday PJ. Shout out to him. And I actually seen, this actually was on TikTok as well. And I'm just commenting on some of the things she say. I am not good. How are you? I understand you. Oh, okay. Hey, whoever else this is. I can't really see your name. I can see the comments, some of them, but some of them I can't. So The next thing I want to talk about is just things that she's saying. That's really what my channel is about. The things that she's saying. I'm not judging her. I'm just listening to sometimes what we accept and what we know that is messed up and we should not accept. Let's get back to the video.
Actually, a very, very traumatic and major thing to swallow. So I was in denial at first. I'm not gonna lie to you. It took me a few months to accept that was what was going on. But I was still like, well, making excuses because he was giving me excuses like I was on drugs for this amount of time, and you don't know what it's like, and being on drugs can make you do things, and I wasn't.
She's saying that she was in denial about her husband being on the DL, but now she pretty much knows now. So she's just talking.
I wasn't in my right mind, and the reason my mother wasn't in my life is my mother was a drug addict all of my life. So I've seen personally my mother do a lot of things that I know she wouldn't do had she not been on drugs. So I kind of related to him on the drug addiction side. And also, like I said, you almost don't want the shit to be true. Like now after I told everybody that I'm married, I have to go back and say, oh, he was gay, y'all. Sorry. Like, no, I brought this dude around, but like, man.
You still kind of wanted to make it work or just try to work past it or something like.
I believed that he had been through some type of trauma that made him this way. I was in denial about it. Like we were going to therapy for it, all types of nonsense. And because from August I only stayed with him for 2.5 months after I found out. And then one day I was just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like this nigga gotta go, like, so then after that was when whatever went down. But like I was still in denial, like, well, maybe I can help him through this. Maybe I was asking him like, well, were you like molested as a child? Did something happen to you? And he was telling me stories about things. So I was trying to work through it with him because he himself never once came out and said, look, yes, this is what it is. So I was in denial just like he was in denial. For a couple months anyway.
Do you think at some point some reason that you got pregnant was, did you ever think about your chances of, even like having a baby and stuff like that? Like this is the closest thing I'm gonna have to, having a relationship with a person that I'm gonna have a baby with, so I'm gonna just do it anyway because he's not that.
No, I had an abortion 3 years ago, and the person that I had was pregnant by begged me not to have it. It wasn't that. It was that the biggest factor was that I was already married to this person. I think that for me, especially culturally, I'm Haitian. In Haitian culture, you don't get divorced. Like, you fight through that fucking marriage. Like, so there better be why. And then also, I guess a lot of it too was shame, because for one.
So this is what I didn't understand was she found out he was DL, whatever, this and that. So the question was to him that he asked her about still getting pregnant by him after the fact that she knew. And she says she's Haitian, you fight for that marriage, this and that. But when you look at this whole video, I'm not going to actually play this whole video, and I'm not going to be on this live long. I feel like with women, we constantly like making excuses. We constantly want something to work. We constantly want to sometime be in our masculine energy where we're going to make something work even though we have no control over that. And there is no way, and like I said, I'm not judging her, but for me, this is my opinion. If I found out that my husband was DL, which it don't even, and it has also something to do with him just cheating in general, I'm not finna go have a baby with him after that. We're going to be done with that. And I know it takes some women longer to do things like that, but sometimes you got to be in your mind and say, hey, sometimes enough is enough. I'm going to play a little bit more of this video, and I'm not going to be on here too much longer.
It was a quick marriage. We got married after a month, and now this.
That's another thing. She got married after a month. But she says she's been knowing him for 20 years. I want to make a point to people to say this. Just because you've known somebody for 20 years don't mean you know them. Because I noticed in her video, she kept saying, well, I've known him for 20 years. I want to just move somebody off the street. I know him for 20 years. You still don't know him. So you can have a long, you can know people for since your childhood and still don't know that person. If you're not around that person 24 hours a day and you're not with his family, this and that all the time, you don't know these people. You don't know that man. But I'm gonna go ahead and get finished with this because I'm not gonna be on this live too much longer.
Now it's like, well, bitch, you made this. Why did you marry him so fast? It's kind of like now I have to kind of like, I'm just processing like, and then also too like I've been blessed to be with some really good guys. Like I said, I've been married before, I've been engaged before, and lived with a person for years, and I left those situations, and I just couldn't process that in all the way better situations that I've been in, I've cut off men for 10% of what this man has done. And now I'm in a marriage to this person. It was a lot to process at that time. It's not an easy thing. Like I know everybody who hasn't experienced something knows exactly how to handle the thing that they've never experienced. I get that. But as somebody that went through it, I can tell you it took me a minute. Like it took me a minute to fully accept that you're married to a man who likes having sex with men. Like that's some shit. Like I'm telling you, that's not some easy shit. It's not like, oh well, guess things didn't work. It's not like that. I promise you, it's not like that.
So I mean, so you did. I mean, how deep was your love to be like, one, marry him, find out he's gay, then have a baby with him? Like, was it? I understand you was like going through, like it was like shocking, and you didn't want to feel embarrassed by your family or whoever. It didn't even matter, but I'm sensing like you didn't want to be like putting your stuff out there and then turn around and be like he's gay. But like, did you love him?
I thought I was in love with him, but I realized after, obviously I don't know this person, right? So I thought I was in love with who I believed him to be, but obviously once I realized I don't know, I can't love a person I don't know. I believed that I knew him, and even then, in the period that I got pregnant, I still believed that I loved him then. If you really love someone, it's not a switch. It's not like you wake up one morning and they do something. If you could do that, if you could wake up one morning, if you really believe you love somebody, you wake up one morning and they do something and you just instantly stop loving them, you probably never did. So
okay, she said she believes she was still in love with him even after she found out that he likes sleeping with the same sex or whatever. But she said if you can just stop loving someone, it's not a switch. You can still love somebody and cut that off. You can still love somebody and use common sense. Because at this point, number one, why would you get pregnant by somebody that you found out all of these things that he's on a DL? Pretty much he's cheating. He's cheating. Whether it's a man or a woman, he's cheating. Number two, we have a problem in the black community with women. We normalize cheating. And this don't even have nothing to do with this sexuality right now. We constantly normalize cheating and we make up excuses for this stuff. And then we come out and we put things out like, oh, he gaslighted me, he did this. No, ma'am. When you figure out who this guy is you as an adult, and she's 37. She said she was 37. Is to stay with this dude or don't stay with this dude. But instead, she found out, which is her truth, to do a tell all her husband is on the DL. Okay, but you know he was on the DL and you still decided to have a kid with him. So where do we start when we say, hey, well, I knew he was like this and that. So why did you got to sometimes use common sense and think.
That I loved him even through that. It just took me a minute to accept that this motherfucker is like a motherfucker, like something wrong with you.
What if he wasn't in denial and he was actually maybe going through some things and he was open and honest with you at that time after being caught?
This is a good question, and this is from a man.
And he said, I need some help and I love you. Would you have stayed with him?
What do you mean open and honest? Like he told me he was gay?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
No, because I'm not into gay men.
I'm saying, well,
like, no.
Because I mean, of course, because you had a baby with him afterwards.
Right.
But the reason I had a baby with him is because even to this day, he's still denying that he was gay. He was giving me.
This is what I'm talking about when we be thinking she still, like he asked her, he answered her a good question. The point is, she said, no, I'm not into gay men. But you still, after you knew he was that way, you still had a child. You choose to still get pregnant by him. It's not even making sense what she's saying now. Because that was a good question he asked her.
All these excuses for why I saw what I saw. Even to this day, he still has not come out and been like, I'm gay.
He shouldn't have to come out and say that he is gay if you've seen him on video. You've seen all of this information. Like she said, she's seen stuff from Grindr, some app. You know, he got to tell you that? That's no. We're not going to do that.
I needed money. I was on drugs. I had a $700 a day habit. You know what? You've seen what that's like.
She's saying that's what he said. He needed money. He was on drugs. He had a 700-day habit. You've seen that, which is even worse. He's on drugs. But the point is this: we're not gonna do that. She know what it was, and that was a good question he asked her.
That this happened to me as a child, so he never came out and said he was gay. I just had to finally accept, like, girl, you're in denial, he's in denial, he's gay. But he never. If he would have came out, I think it probably would have jolted me out of it a little faster. Like, okay, girl, like, he's gay, like, just going about your business. But he never once said that to me.
But you seen information that showed that he was. You said you seen him in a photo, in a video, where his face is between some other guy's legs. So come on now, we got to stop.
Yeah, because you said that he wasn't finishing during intercourse with you two, and this was prior to you finding out, and then after finding out, now all of a sudden he's,
yeah, that was weird. I still don't understand that. I don't have an explanation for why that was. I don't understand it, so I don't know why that was. I just know at the time he was telling me that, like, the reason that he wasn't able to finish is because he was so desensitized from drug use for so many years, and that was the reason why he wasn't able to. So and I still don't understand why he was able to after. Like, I don't have the answers for this. Like, I wish I was like a gay connoisseur. Like, I could tell you. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah. So, of course, confronting him. I mean, we've heard the details. And there was another thing when you was like, I need you to share all your passwords and stuff, and I want to see your iPad, so you can always go in and check and see if he's still having these relations. I'm thinking, watching, I'm like, she cares about, she's in love, she wants to be with this man,
right?
Because that's like at that,
even if he is
the relationship at
with the same sex, right? She still wants to be with him.
This is somebody that I married a month ago.
Married don't mean nothing.
Course,
I wish women.
If I just married you a month ago.
When you're married to the right.
Finding out you're gay and getting divorced right away.
Marriage don't mean nothing if you're not married to the right person. It don't mean nothing. So I don't care if you marry in one day, if you marry 6 months or a year. If they treating you like garbage and they doing stuff and you know it, that don't mean nothing. It's not a prize. I wish, especially women in our community, stop sitting up here. We are too fantasy driven. I said in the last video, we are fantasy driven. So what if you married, if he ain't treating you right? It don't even matter.
Like I said, it's going to take a second. If I felt strongly enough for you to marry you, it's not going to be instantaneous that one day I wake up and like, oh, I'm over this. Like I said, everything takes time. So yeah, I asked him for his passwords. I honestly wanted to do a deep dive to see what else I was going to see, because when I asked him for his passwords, the videos, the big.
She already know he's with the same sex, and pretty much he's a cheater. What do you want his password for? You want to? This is what we like, fooling ourselves. No, she wants to still be with him, and it's okay. That is her, if that's what she wants. But don't make it seem like, no, I want to do a deep dive. No, you want to still be with that man. But I'm not going to be on here too much longer. I usually read through books like this, but I want to show this. This is really to black women. I don't even know if they still have this book. anywhere, but y'all need to read this book. A lot of us in our community need to read this. I usually read from this book, but this is a very old book. I got it from not Barnes and Nobles. I got it from Half Price Books. Half Price Books have a lot of good books, but women in our community, y'all need to get this book. I usually read from this book, but at this point, I'm seeing so many different videos about, the way we think, how we keep making excuses and we say, oh, he gaslit me, he did this to me, he did that to me. And we be knowing the whole time, or we just now finding out, but we still continue to stay with that person, that man. Y'all need to get this book. But anyway, until next time, I don't even want to play no more her video. And it's actually on, this is an interview, Everyday PJ. That's the name of his channel on YouTube. Shout out to him again. If you want to finish the whole video, you want to look at the video, go over there and look at it. But I'm done. Until next time, y'all.